Set score is 130. With that goal, New York leads 9-8, and in 5 goals time, one of these teams will be on their way to the MLQ finals. Before we get into the final 5 goals, here's what you need to know. Neither team has led by more than 1 goal at any point in this game. John Jackson and Lindsay Morella have been on the field for about 18 of the 22 minutes of gameplay. Chicago still has their timeout, and the team that caught the flag runner won the game despite trailing in goals in both games 1 and 2 of this series. Dodgeballs are completely in the flag runner game, and Chicago has the chance to run a half court just chasers versus chasers. New York is playing a box and one with Leo Fried on point in the green headband, and Lindsay Morella playing mark defense against Peachy. Andrews and Manzella play catch to get around Fried, and Andrews drives and scores easily through John Jackson to tie the game at 9. With no beaters in the play, Chicago takes advantage of New York's aggressive marking on Peachy. Because Fried is alone at the top of the key, Chicago is easily able to pass around him. When Andrews drives, Jackson is completely flat-footed and has no chance to stop him mid-drive. Jackson should have closed out as quickly as possible to Andrews as soon as he received the ball from Manzella. Chicago is playing a little bit of a box and one themselves, with Andrews closely marking Morella at the start of this play. Jackson cuts left, utilizing a screen from Hickmott on Vasquez, and is picked up by Andrews. Morella follows Andrews and runs a screen herself for Jackson to cut back right. With Jackson going right, Hickmott comes back left and is able to score on the missed shot. With the beaters still on the flag runner, New York shows a textbook way to break down a 2-2 zone with no dodgeballs in the vicinity. By running screens, they get Jackson an open lane, and while Peachy does a good job to get a hand in the way of the shot, 3 Chicago players had committed to Jackson, which gave Hickmott an easy rebound goal, and Fried was there if Hickmott wasn't. Before Chicago really gets started on this offensive look, New York's seeker gets a yellow card, which causes a 1 minute and 10-second stoppage, during which neither team has a coach talk to any players on the pitch. Each team has scored every possession since the 20-minute mark, so perhaps the coaches didn't have notes to give, but it's striking that in a close game with everything on the line, there were no adjustments made. The box and one starts high this time, with Fried picking up Andrews at mid-pitch and Morella picking up Digman, newly subbed in for Peachy. As Andrew drives right past Fried, Kay takes a shot at him, after collecting an errant dodgeball from the flag runner game. Andrews dodges and drives to the hoops before sending a no-look pass to Manzella, who gets stuffed at the hoops by Jackson. In the time it took Andrews to dodge the K beat and get started on his drive again, Fried was able to get back between Andrews and the hoops. This meant that Jackson didn't have to commit to Andrews and was able to quickly close out to Manzella. Emma Vasquez was the better passing option, with lots of space in the middle of the field and Hickmott rather than Jackson the primary defender after she catches a potential pass. Kay's recognition to spend a few seconds in the quad ball game is rewarded, and he gives his team a chance to go up too. Fried is off and running, and Digman loses a step when he lets go of his brim to make contact. That's a yellow card. Fried slows it way down on play restart, looking for Morella to set a pick. That swaps out Fried's defender from Riley Andrews to Emma Vasquez and gives Fried time and space to spin as his new defender picks him up. When Vasquez can't hold on, it's an easy goal for Fried, and New York extends the lead to 2, the largest lead for either team so far this game. Perhaps the most interesting thing about this play is what John Jackson does. He's being marked by Ali Manzella, and so he lets his teammates go to work. Much the same way that Peachy and Digman have kept Morella out of the middle on defense, Jackson keeps Manzella far from the quad ball and lets his teammates go to work in a 2-on-2 situation. New York seems to have learned from their mistakes and moved to a mark defense, with Jackson on hoops and Vasquez the open chaser for Chicago. Digman, under pressure from Kay, absolutely yeets the ball over the middle, directly to Lindsay Morella for an easy stop. This was a game-losing mistake. Digman not only had time before Kay threw, but space against Fried and an open Vasquez calling for the ball. The 20-yard pass over the middle to the deep player is never the right move, ever. In no situation, against no defensive set, ever. Morella doesn't break stride as she catches the quad ball, and drawing both Andrews and Manzella to her, is able to pass it ahead to Jackson, who turns on the jets to get past Vasquez. As Digman prepares to make a hit, Jackson turns and hits the trailing Fried, who scores without a defender anywhere close. 12-9, and New York wins the game. Wait a minute. That was only 4 goals. Well, I may have called it prematurely, but New York is 5 for 5 since the 20-minute mark and have 2 stops in a row against Chicago. Surely they win this one. Although, I don't remember seeing them in the finals. Take K, what are you doing? You're up 3 and need 1 to win. Just let Chicago score. Who cares? But no, you have to bully the college student and beat out Byron Ng as he approaches half. He gets it out to J-Rom, who streaks left before a whistle stops the play, and now it's a tie game. The following stoppage goes on for nearly 3 minutes, and again, neither coach goes onto the field to give directions. New York has 4 members of Team USA on the pitch, and surely they know how to run a defensive stand. But Nivash J-Rom will restart with the quad ball, fresh out of Columbia College, and in his second ever MLQ season, and he gets nothing from his coaches. But he doesn't need it. He jukes Morella twice and goes to the near side hoop, scoring through the outstretched arms of Potter and Jackson. There will be no team from the East in the finals this year. How did this happen? Well, Leo Freed, John Jackson, and Molly Potter were all content to just stay on hoops instead of offering help to Morella. And Tate K went the long way around the hoops to where J-Rom was when the play was whistled live, instead of cutting to where J-Rom would be most dangerous during the play. Simply put, when they needed their superstars to make a stop, they just didn't.
The goal is good! Chicago proud! The single player effort goes by Morella, goes by John Jackson. Tate K can't stop him. Chicago proud are into the finals.